Hi, Saken. I'm doing good. My name is Percy. I'm sending this voice note from South Africa. Before my question, I want to make a point, and then I will follow with my question. My point is, when you go to places like Home Affairs or maybe to banks, you need to be taken a photo or a picture of yourself. Even you need to be taken fingerprints. Sometimes they tell you that you are not in the system. If you don't have an ID, you are not in the system. So my question is, why do we have to be taken all those things like pictures, fingerprints, and they give us IDs? And then what system they are telling us we are not in that system? So I just want to hear from your side, from your point of view, because to me, I don't get that kind of system. What is it? And why do we need to be given all those things? Because where we are born from in our homes, or where we come from in our homes, they know us, they know our names, they know who we are, but why the society need to be, why in the society we need to be given or to be taken all those things? That's my question for today.
Okay, Rahubat Wawe, good question. Thank you for your question. So the question for, just to kind of summarize, is why do we have to give information and take pictures when we go into places like public affairs and different government buildings and give ID and so on and so forth? Well, we've been telling people this for years. We're living in a day and time where something called the New World Order is in effect, right? The New World Order is a system whereby you have a small group of people that are wanting to rule and control the world, right? And it's not any one person, it's a combination of different high profile people, different countries, different governments. We have the book called The Luciferian Conspiracy, Leviathan. These books go into detail because what we keep saying to people is, all right, people will read the Bible, for example, and the Quran and these religious books that explains that there's going to come a time, right, like the books of prophecy, like they talk about the book of Revelations, and which is known by many names, the Apocrypha, etc. And they will say in fact, from the beginning of the Genesis or the beginning of the Quran, they tell you, you have two worlds. You have God on one side and you have the devil on the other side. And the whole purpose of the devil, the story is that he is going to prove to God that humans are not worthy. And so he's going to tempt them, he's going to take them off the path. And then you have situations where there's a war that took place, Revelation 12:7. And it talks about God and his angels, headed by the archangel Michael, yeah? He fought a war against the dragon and his angels. The dragon is the person that people call the devil, okay? The devil or the dragon, the serpent, is known by many names, Azazel, etc., Shakar, Tarnush. They fought this war and they lost. Read the book, just read Revelation 12:7, and it tells you that he was cast out of heaven and down. So if heaven is up there and you're cast out of it and down here, And it tells you that the devil has offspring. Even in Genesis, it's talking to you and telling you about the serpent, okay, that God put enmity between the serpent and the woman's seed. And it explains that they have children. Genesis 6:4 talks about the Nephilims that came down here, right? And they had children and they took the women, the daughters of men. So it says the sons of God took the daughters of men and they had offspring. So, and they've been multiplying on the planet ever since. You look at when it's talking about legions, okay? It talks about beings that are disembodied beings that are here also that have no body. They were cast down here. These are demonic spirits. What I'm saying is when we look at that, people forget that if they're here on this planet and they've been having children and multiplying, both sides. So you've got the good side, Michael and his angels, you've got the bad side, the dragon, the draconian, the reptilians, and their angels or offspring. So you got these two sides, seraphim, which is the good ones, cherubim, yeah, Yah on one side, way on the other side. There is a war that's been going on and has been going on for a very long time, from the heavens, in the skies, on the planet, between two brothers, Enki and Enlil, Jacob and Esau. The list just goes on and on and on, because this war is going on mentally, it's going on physically, and it's going on spiritually. So you have beings on the planet that have bringing about this new world order, which is to have one government, one religion, one church, one everything, because it's easier to control. So now, when you look at the system, like you're talking about, how does this come about? How is everybody controlled by way of the system? The beast, right? Because the books of Revelation mentions the beast. The beast is in many forms. There was an actual computer called the beast, right? Known as IBM 366 in Belgium, okay? And some of these children born to Satan, that's why when you say Satan or Shaitan or the devil or Lucifer, Azazel, all these names, right? It's because they're different children. It's not just one person with a pitchfork in a place called hell, right? There are people walking amongst us that are children of the devil, and you have children of God, if you want to use that term, right? Whether you want to say Elohim, etc., etc. This is why when we explain and break down that these beings that people are referring to as gods, as angels, are extraterrestrials, and they all want to take control of this planet. You have many, many, many species of extraterrestrials. Some want to live here in harmony with us. Some want to just live by themselves in their own world underneath the seas, in the caverns. Some are in crafts in the skies. And others, they want to take control and take control of everyone. And you have, like I said, the different organizations and governments that work through organizations such as the Illuminati and many, many groups. They're in every facet of society. So it's not surprising to us because we've been teaching this. And some people think when we say Michael and his angels are fighting against the dragon and his angels, and the same way they didn't prevail in the heaven is the same way this war has to be won here as well. And whenever they are defeated, they move on to somewhere else to try and colonize and take over. That's their nature. So now everything is becoming security. Everything they will say, and there are aspects to security in terms of, you know, knowing where everyone is, but at the same time there is an agenda to control everyone and control everything by way of the New World Order and by organizations such as the Illuminati. So you've got the dark side, and people, when I say dark in terms of looking at it as, you know, evil or bad, and then you have the good side. So what it is you have to recognize when we say Michael, we're talking about Michael as in Malachi, Zodok, and he's here fighting and has been fighting in terms of giving the information to wake people up to the reality of what's really going on. So now everything you do is KYC. KYC is face recognition. It's about providing ID, but at the same time, if you're in the world, you have to obey the laws of the land that you live in. And if you don't have anything to worry about, if you're not doing anything illegal or criminal, then you really have nothing to worry about. But at the same time, people think it's just about getting bits of information. No, in order for you to be able to liberate yourself and not be in certain radar, this is what wu-sabat is here to do. This is why we put out all this knowledge and all this information, so you'll be aware of the agendas of things that are taking place, not just on an individual basis, but on a global scale, with nature, with the planet itself, with alignments of planetary bodies, with you transforming yourself inside out. Because the part of you, right, this goes down to you as well as a being. You have both agreeable and disagreeable within you, but you have to align yourself with one side or the other predominantly. Not saying you don't need both sides of your nature. It's like energy, right? So you have positive and negative, all right, in terms of polarity, but it's about being balanced. So yeah, if you want to be in a community and be able to be protected and to learn and to know what's taking place and what you need to do so that you don't get caught up in a particular situation, that's why we're here giving out truth. Truth, it tells you, truth will prevail over evil. And when the truth comes, yeah, all lies and falsehood has to perish. This is the war going on right now, but it starts within yourself. This is what is referred to as jihad, although it's been misinterpreted. Jihad is the internal war between your two sides, yeah, to learn which one of them is leading you in the wrong direction, in the wrong way, and the one that is leading you in the right direction. And ultimately, it's about the vibration and the frequency and the energy that you emit, which means that you will resonate with those that are also on that vibration, and you can actually change things by way of your energy. Okay, this is what we're calling the conscious or the transformation, because as human beings, we have evolved physically, but we're in a day and time where we're evolving spiritually and more consciously. This is why everyone's talking about the Christ consciousness, being woke, being, in the Aquarian age, and all you're doing is you're just going to exist, but in a particular resonance frequency that is higher than the lower vibrations and frequencies, so it won't really affect you, right? You have to liken this to how diseases in your body. Remember, the word disease is dis-ease, right? So when you're not at ease, you're the opposite, which is dis-ease, disease, right? Can only function and vibrate in certain environments, alkaline versus acidic, you see? So this is why all these things we're talking about, it translates from all levels in terms of your density, and it's about your mind being on one accord with those that are on that vibration, and together you will topple or defeat the devil and his world that is actually crumbling and falling. It tells you Babylon the Great will fall. Read Revelations 18, and it tells you, Revelation 18:2, we mention about the 7 heads and the 10 horns, which goes into these world powers that are all part of the Luciferian conspiracy. You see, so things are playing out right in front of our eyes, and sometimes, people don't take heed. They don't listen. They don't listen to what or see what's going on around them. But when you have one who knows, one who's a guide, one who's telling us and teaching us, we know what we need to do. And it's down to every individual to decide for themselves. We have a part of that called par takror, which means the decision. And it's your decision. And you can just change right now. It's all about your mentality and how you change so that you're not in that, you're not caught up in that radar. So yeah, the New World Order is real. The Luciferians are real. Leviathan is real. But then you also have the other side, and it says that God's angels will win. And that's what it's about. All right, let's move on to the next question.